All righty then. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad to have my guest with me, Reynaldo Santana from the Boston area. Welcome. How are
Thank you
you,
so much,
sir?
Dave. I'm doing fabulous and I'm blessed today.
Awesome. Great. Well, listen, we've got a lot to talk about here and a little bit of background on you. You are a visionary, purpose driven business leader. You think for about businesses, entrepreneurs, improving the world, that kind of stuff. You've done a lot, man. You've been an investor, author, speaker, educator, philanthropist, but also you did a lot of tech stuff about 10 years, including and Lockheed Martin, U.S. Navy, Air Force, Disney, NASA, BMW. I like my old BMW. And but we're here to talk about you serving underserved communities,
Mm.
teaching them about real estate, sales, marketing. You've got a Google Ad Grant program that we want to talk about for
Yeah,
nonprofits and profit companies. So let's dive right in. First of all, who is Reynaldo Santana? Tell us about yourself.
that's a great question, Dave. All the above. No, I'm just playing. Well, I am someone who was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts, raised in Methuen, Massachusetts. My parents came from the Dominican Republic, so I'm second generation here. Basically, parents came here to give me a great life, my brother and I. And since then, I've been hustling, hustling, hustling. Everything that I've done, I've been the first one with my eyes, really. And it's pretty cool. Everything has been an experience, it's been a journey, a learning lesson. So just to kind of cut the story short in some ways, past 12 years, I've been working in tech, working with emerging technologies, working on business development roles to help small, medium businesses and corporate thrive. I've had experience to start my own startups, work inside of different startups. So I've had a great view of life, perspectives, and businesses, and what to do, what not to do, how to treat people, how not to treat people. I mean, I've gone through a lot of different experiences, and that includes living in San Francisco, living in Florida, living in Mexico for a year and a half. Traveling to Colombia, to Venezuela. So life has taught me a lot, but I'm someone who's, if you ask me what my passion is, I can't give you just one answer because I've learned that my passion is living life and trying different things out, different experiences. Because what I've learned is that, once you get to that age where you're in that deathbed, you want to have no regrets, and you want to be happy with your life and what that you tried everything you wanted in life, and you just become very appreciative for the Lord's blessings and what He has provided you. So I'm that person. I'm humbled, charismatic, adventurous, and I love food and I love music. So for those that don't know me, I've been playing the trumpet since the age of 7, and
Really?
yeah, I'm 33 now, folks, but I still play music. Yeah.
Very cool. I love music. That's my background. You know, uh, Billy Joel said that music has a healing aspect to it. In fact, believe it or not, in church on Sundays for the background music while people are coming in, we play. We actually it's not Billy Joel. It's yeah, he said that, but I'm thinking of the boss, Bruce Springsteen. We play a Bruce Springsteen song, "This Little Light of Mine." I'm going to let it shine as people are
Yes,
coming to church. Can you believe that? That's crazy.
that's right.
So let's talk about that wall behind you for a minute. We talked about that briefly the other day, and that's
Yeah.
very special because that really talks about who you are as well. And I'm very curious and interested for you to kind of give us an idea of what does that wall mean to you back there.
Yeah. So I'll scoot right over here. There's a lot that I've done in my life, like I mentioned. I mean, some of these things are academics. We have MIT, we have Harvard Business School, somewhere here. I can't do my finger, but Harvard Business School. We have MIT. We have academic excellence. And you'd be like, "Oh, this guy was a straight A student." No, I barely passed high school with the 1.8 GPA. I had D's, F's, HIJK, you name it. I barely passed. I thank the Lord I passed, but it was straight A's in music in gym class, but everything else down the tubes. I was someone who didn't know a lot about the importance of education and why we needed it. I really was just breathing music 24/7. And met some mentors back in college, and met some great folks. And it's true what they say: surround yourself with great people, and you become a great person as well. And I'm fortunate to be surrounded by great people in college that kind of taught me the importance of education is key to success. And that was my late mentor, John Barkley, who was a medical doctor, believe it or not. And funny story, I have to share it. I was working at the Apple Store back in 2009 to 2012 as a salesperson, and this 6'3" doctor comes in the door looking for an iPad, and I sell him on the iPad, and then he asked me, "Can I ask you 3 questions, young man?" I'm like, "Sure." Now I don't remember those 3 questions, but it was one about math, science, and history. Well, because I didn't care about school or anything else, I failed all 3 questions. And then he tells me, "You are a stupid Dominican, aren't you?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "You are a stupid Dominican." And I paused there because anyone in my shoes would have just snapped, completely snapped. And I just stopped and thought about that and reflected. I'm like, you know what? Truly, Ray, we're not really happy where we are today in terms of academics and being smart, not being smart. I'm not really happy where I'm at. So I told him, you know what, Dr. Barley, you're right. I am a stupid Dominican. Help me become a smarter gentleman like yourself. I love to do that. And he was he was like, all right, smart answer. Here's my phone number and my email address. Text me or email me and let's meet in Starbucks. I'm like, great. So then I email him once, call him once, ignored. Literally, I tried 5, 6 times until the 7th time he got back to me. He's like, all right, maybe tomorrow 9 a.m. at the Starbucks. I'm like, yes. So I get there and he tells me, do you know why I'm here with you today, Reynaldo? I'm like, why? He's like, you emailed me 5, 6 times, and that tells me something about you. That you really, really want to change. You're really hungry, and I'm gonna help you out because of that. So from that point on, I was under his wings for a few years. He taught me how to read different types of books, increase my vocabulary, value education. He took me across the state of Massachusetts to learn about different history, different towns, states, everything about Indians. I mean, you name it. The guy was full of history. But he inspired me to do a triple concentrations, which was in IT. It was business management, international business, and a minor in music. And he inspired me to do a master's as well. So I'm talking to myself like, wow, I really achieved all this. Now, keep in mind, this is the same guy that barely passed high school, who, I was a band geek and that's it. But I also remembered in high school graduation, I felt kind of disappointed in myself. Like, look at all my friends on that graduation stage. They're opening up the ceremony, they're speaking, they have honors, and I felt kind of bad. I'm like, Ray, you can do better than this. You can do better. Your parents sacrificed a lot so you can, become a professional man here in the U.S. And so I told myself, you know what? In 5 years, I'm going to be on that stage. Truth be told, 5 years later, who's going to open up the ceremony? Reynaldo Santana. Who gets the Chancellor's Medal? 7 students get it out of the 2,000 students we had at UMass. And I was one of those for community service and leadership. And I remember being on that stage and kind of tearing because just reflecting on, 5 years ago when I was in high school graduation, how far I made it, and the mentors along the way. So I do have to give credit to God and to all my mentors and people around me, because if people tell me, who are you? I'm the summary of the people who are around me and help me become who I am today. So that's a little short story, but that's part of the stuff you see on the wall is academics. The second part is music. Like I mentioned, I started playing trumpet at the age of 7, and I was inspired by my you can say guru or spiritual leader. His name is Aaron. He passed away unfortunately last year, age 99. But basically, I remember at age 6, he lives in Puerto Rico, he lived in Puerto Rico, and now he came to Massachusetts to do a service. And I remember age 6, he told my parents, does he know music yet? Are you guys teaching him? And they're like, no, not really. Then he said, teach him music and you shall see what he does. It was like a prophecy, it's something. I mean, he saw the vision or future, something. But my parents started teaching me music. And, age 7, I started. Age 8, I was playing already in the church band, first trumpet. I was playing military taps for the veterans, firefighters, and police officers. And that's why you see some newspaper here with the trumpet. So the military has a really spot in my heart because I grew up in that community growing up. And since then, I've been doing a lot of trumpet competitions during middle school, high school, and college. And so some of these awards are based on that. And some of these are also business competitions when I was in college. And funny thing is that when I entered college, everything happened for a reason. Because my grades were so bad in high school, I went to try out for the conservatory. And when I went to the audition, behold, my favorite trumpet player was there. And his name was Charles Sluter, by the way. He played first trumpet at the Boston Symphony Orchestra. And it was him and Benjamin Wright, the third trumpet of BSO, and a few other people there. So I'm performing. I'm doing a great job. And, they tell me, kid, you got chops. However, your grades, they don't look too good. We're not sure if you're going to make it here in the conservatory in terms of the academics. So we recommend, go to a community college, prove yourself, and come back. So although I was disappointed, but I was motivated because I really wanted to do music. So I did that. I went to a community college called Middlesex Community College in Lowell, Massachusetts. And behold, once again, I got a 3.8 GPA. Bam! I'm like, yes, I can do it. Right? I was proud of myself. And I got a scholarship to go to UMass Lowell. And I'm like, ooh, I got a scholarship. I mean, I can go to a university or I can just go to the conservatory. My conservatory is 3 times more expensive. So don't have that money. So let me go to the university here and do music. Well, the first year of music went okay in terms of performance, but like I mentioned, I wasn't really a good student. So I didn't do really good in music theory and a few of the courses. So I'm like, I'm going to change majors, not because of also my grades, but also because I got to think about down the road. I mean, my parents, they're going to get older and I have to take care of them. My brother may do it, may not do it. I don't know, but I have to have a plan B, and that's me. And so, you know what, let me get into business. Why? Because people like me. I like people. So I did that. And the first year of business, literally C's and D's, F's. And I got that special letter that said probation, academics probation. And for those folks who don't know what that is, that means the university gives you one more chance before they kick you out forever. And that was a great boot in my butt because I brought my grades up to A's and B's after that. But story short, once again, I'm trying to can't speak here forever, but within my college years experience, I learned to value education. I learned the importance of it. I learned that is the door to opportunities. And that's why I pursued, even though I wanted to quit a few times. I'll be honest with you, when you have no one that's been in your shoes before in your family, it's hard to relate. It's hard to lean on someone. So you have to be kind of self-motivated. And during my last 2 years of college, like they used to call me Preacher Ray because I used to be listening to gospel music, church music, motivational preachers, motivational speakers, you name it. I'll be that guy at midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in the business lounge studying and listening to these sort of things. And people are like, what? But hey, I made it through. And now, because of that, I still motivate people. I still do public speaking at the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club because I believe it's really important, Dave, that we go out there and give back, especially to young kids. You don't believe how many times I go out and to speak in front of kids and they look at me like strange, like, are you really Dominican? I'm like, yeah, why? I've never seen a Dominican with a suit and a tie before. I'm like, what? I mean, it's 2020 or 20. Let's go, man. But it just shows you there's still many communities out there that the kids don't see grown-ups of their own color dressed up professionally. So we need many role models out there. So I'll pause right there because that was a lot.
Well, yeah, and we got a lot to talk about another time about music, and it makes you feel any better. I got kicked out of high school for skipping too many classes, and then when I went to school in Boston, I basically was working 3 jobs and sleeping through class, so all my grades in Boston were D's and stuff, and I finally found a third college where I finally hit that motivation level and got straight A's and B's my last couple of years, so I relate with that. But my favorite Boston music memory is I got to see the one and only John Williams at the Esplanade for the 4th of July with Arthur Fiedler's son up on the roof with the binoculars, making sure that all of the church bells went off simultaneously when they hit that Quaker Oats song at the end. Yeah, so that was a treat with like 500,000 of my closest friends hanging out at the Esplanade right on the Charles River. But I love Boston, and you've got some great schools, great experiences there. And all that to say, let's jump right into talking about what you're doing now. And we kind of covered what you've been doing for fun, and we'll talk again later about. I was listening to Stevie Wonder, Sir Duke, which is a tribute to all the old Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, and Glenn Miller, and all the stuff that we remember that we grow up with that shapes who we are. So you've been shaping who you are, and your motivation level is amazing, and I commend you for that. I would wish that all Americans would get off of YouTube and Netflix and binge watching and start to get educated, because we are dumbing ourselves down by ignoring what we can be in education. But that's my editorial. I'll stop there. Let's talk about what you're doing right now to help businesses and nonprofits. You've got some kind of a secret scheme going on with Google grant money for nonprofits and for corporations that want to expand their charity presence. What's that all about, Ray?
Yeah, happy to explain for everyone here today. So basically, I have an organization called Impact NX. And basically what we do is we help organizations build a philanthropic arm to their organization. Now, how does that look like? Easy. Sounds easy, right? Basically, if you're a for-profit, we have to understand that we have to shift our minds today. We got to think more about give before you receive. We have to also agree that today the consumers, the buyers, they have changed the way they buy. We're all familiar with inbound marketing and how content is king. And that still is the fact. People have to do their due diligence online. I mean, we all do it today. When you're looking to find a restaurant or buy a product or service, the majority of us go to google.com and just search for it, right? And find the answers. And we tend to do our own due diligence to see who are these people, who are these companies, what are they doing, why they're doing it, how long they've been around, look at the reviews. We do this whole checklist without us really knowing that we're doing it, but we're doing it to feel comfortable before we buy. And some of us like to educate ourselves first before we spend a lot of money. So we can all agree that that's how things are going and how the majority of us buy things today. So basically, we've come to a point where also COVID has hurt a lot of businesses. That's, again, both nonprofit and businesses, for-profit. And we don't have a lot of cash laying around. We have to be very smart how we spend it. But at the same time, we're trying to survive. So I understand. Now, the reason why I created this organization is because, again, I've been in your shoes. I am a business owner. I do also own a nonprofit. I've been in a startup mode as well. I know how it feels like to be bootstrapped or not having money and trying to use what you have. So all this really comes together. And basically, if you're a for-profit, I create a nonprofit arm to your business. And I kind of dig deep into your mindset, into your brand, and can ask you, what do you care about? What's a cause that you support today, if any? And if you don't have one, well, you know what? There's many ways how you can give back to your community and help people. And that is to educate people on what you do for your for-profit. Because we're all used to push. We're used to pitching people and sell. But sometimes, it's relax and just, how about if you educate people on your products and services? Educate people on the pain points and why you chose that type of business, why you chose this type of persona. Just teach about that. And that can be done in different ways. It can be done via podcast, via presentation, a webinar, you name it, blogs. I mean, there's different ways to do this. So basically, I would do all the filing and registration for the nonprofit, for the business, right, through the US or Canada. And then we kind of look at the marketing strategy on what we will go with, if it's a webinar or a presentation or whatever it is, right? And then from that point, I focus heavily on this one particular grant, and that's called the Google Nonprofit Grant. I didn't create it, Google created it. And anyone today can Google search this right now, Google nonprofit program, and you can read all about it. And basically, this grant, what it does is you have to be a 501c3 status. And if you're accepted, they give you $120,000 worth of Google ad credit. It's not cash, folks. It is credit. And basically, you can use that so you can appear on the front page of Google to rank with different keywords. So basically, if someone's searching for your type of business, well, you'll kind of show up on the front page. And what's great about this is that it gives you the opportunity to test different ads. It can be to test different regions, statewide, nationwide, different countries, languages, age groups, different keywords. I mean, you can try different things out, and whatever works, great. Optimize those campaigns and ads. Whatever doesn't work, ignore it and just leave it out. But it's a way to bring traffic to your nonprofit organization to promote your mission, promote what you do. Now, you may be asking, all right, so how does that benefit my for-profit? Well, easily. If you have your for-profit, and then we open up your nonprofit, and your nonprofit is teaching about what you do for your for-profit, what's going to happen is that people are going to find you on your nonprofit website. They're going to opt in and give you their phone number, their email address, right, their contact info overall, to have access to the content that you're going to give for free. And as people read or listen or see the content that you're creating, what's going to happen is that you're going to build that trust, build that authority figure, build that kind of professor, teacher, you name it. You're going to educate people, and people love to be educated. They love to learn something new. And as you do that, people begin to convert over to customers. Because easily, if you're building your mailing list on the back end, and you kind of be like, hi, this is Reynaldo from ABC Nonprofit. I saw that you downloaded my workshop online. Glad that you loved it. If you need any help, any support, let me know. Here's my contact information and my business where we can do partnerships and go beyond what you just learned here. Boom, people will look you up, the LinkedIn search, Google search, everything else, and they're going to give you business. Why? Because you taught them, you helped them, you provided value to them first, right? So not only that, again, you're doing social good, you're giving back, you're doing goodwill, trustworthiness, right? You become a thought leader in your industry. So you kind of start hitting your charity goals and you start hitting your financial bottom line for your company. And the cool thing is that you stick out from the rest. Not many people do this. Not many people know about the Google nonprofit grant. So that's how I help for-profits. And then for those that are nonprofits, they're already halfway there because they're already existing nonprofits that can just apply for the grant and get it, and then we help them with the Google Ads. Now, David, I do have to mention, anyone can do this by themselves. I did it, and I fumbled. So that's one thing you have to know. I already have my grants, and you have to understand that Google, guys, Google does not provide really support for this. They have heavy documentation, but you can't speak to no one. You can't email anybody, and they make all the steps look very easy, but it's not that easy. Not only that, but they only work with one partner for this, and they're called TechSoup. And they're a global organization, and their job is to validate the nonprofit, make sure it's legit, and all check the boxes. And then they give you a token. With that token, you can apply for this Google grant. But if you don't do this application right, then you're lost because you can only apply once to TechSoup.
I'm very familiar with how grant writing works, and it is, as you say, extremely complicated. And you gotta basically be a grant writing type mindset or get help from you.
That's right. The good thing is, folks, is this: once you get the grant, it's yours for a lifetime. Say it again. It's yours for a lifetime. That means that once it's yours, guys, that's $10,000 a month every single month, as long as you don't do something wrong or bad. Which again, it's what we teach you: the do's and the don'ts and the best practices. Because some folks, they get there 50%, they get the grant, and then the other 50% is how to use Google Ads very well and properly. And if you don't do it well, you do the wrong mistakes, then they can just suspend your account or just cancel it completely, and you're out of luck. So at Impact Analytics, we provide an 8-week program for-profit and nonprofits where we go from step A to Z. It's a hybrid model, and what that means is that there's some parts where it's done for you from our staff, and then some parts where you do it yourself. and we provide video series to teach you how to do each of these steps to help you. And lastly, we provide that support, basically access to a Facebook group where we do a weekly live, and you can you can ask all the questions you wish. We'll address all the concerns, and we start sharing best practices, like I mentioned, do's and don'ts. And that's yours for a lifetime as well. Okay.
How can people get a hold of you to find out more and contact you, get in touch, and see if this is a good fit for them?
Yeah, sure. Basically, go to our website, www.impactnx. That's spelled ANNEX.org. And right there, any of the contact forms will lead up to me, and we'll have a half-hour conversation to learn more about your situation and see how we can work together.
Wow, we covered quite a bit of information actually in a very short period of time. Really great interview. So I typically have a standard question that I ask everybody at the end of my podcast. If you watched any of them, my question is this, and we'll kind of wrap things up with this. But just to clarify, www.impactannex.org, and that's with two X's, ANNEXX.
No, impact. And then NX, ANNEX.org.
One X. Okay. Yeah. Let's get that right. Well, good. I'm glad I got it wrong, so you could repeat it for me.
That's fine. It's fine.
So one more.
I'm on LinkedIn too. I'm on LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn. Yes.
Just search my name, Reynaldo Santana. Sometimes it may come out as Reynaldo Antonio Santana, which is my middle name. Yay.
Okay.
But I'm happy to connect either way. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. So here's my question. What was your very first job ever as a kid or as a teenager?
I would say it was the baseball umpire.
What?
Yeah, I know. I was paid $25 a game. I was 12 or 13 years old, believe it or not. And my coach had me on some games. And yeah, that's what it is. Now, if you talk about family-wise, I mean, age 8, my dad had me carry sheetrock and do construction work in our house. So that young age, we were working on construction. But but aside from that, I was an umpire for baseball.
Wow! And what level baseball was this?
Little league, Little league. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Little league. That's another thing. I mean, when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I was split between baseball and music, and I was really good at both. I was one of the top pitchers here in Little League where I live, and one of the best musicians. And came a point at age 11 or 12, my dad told me, "All right, son, you got to choose one. You can't have two lives here." Because there are times where I'm playing a championship game, bam, I'm dirty my uniform. From there, I'm going straight to the concert and putting a little tuxedo, head dirty, everything's just dirty, and I'm playing the trumpet, right? It was crazy, but I had to choose one, and I went with music, and I kept baseball like a hobby, right? Which now they're both hobbies, but I still play once in a while.
Oh, that's very cool. I'll share with you sometime these guys that I work with on websites that they actually met with a Boston Red Sox player and developed an ebook for parents that wanted their kids to be better batters in Little League. And so I'll share that with you later, but that's very cool that you were good at baseball and at the trumpet. It's kind of hard to carry a trumpet when you're at bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got used to it. It's so funny. I mean, I remember as a young boy, right, 7, 8, people got used to seeing me carrying a trumpet case up and down, and it used to be bigger than my head, my body, because I was a small kid and chubby, but I was small. But always carrying that case around, and then there came a point where when I got to college, I exchanged the trumpet case for a suitcase that has suits for business competitions, and I felt so weird, Dave, because growing up with a trumpet case next to me is like part of me, and when I had to let it go, I didn't let it go completely, but I was traveling with it everywhere. But now it was a business suit, and I'm like, wow, I think I'm growing up. I think my life is changing. And
so we're kind of out of time, but I want you to kind of wrap things up with you obviously are a person of faith. You want to just talk about that a little bit more. What does your faith mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm Christian, and my family, I grew up in a Christian family, very religious, and it means a lot to me. I think who I am today is because of the church that I went to, Congregation Mida. They taught me great values, and to treat everyone like my brother and sister. And I still do that today for business. I treat everyone with respect and so much love, and people get that energy from me. And I think that's why one of the reasons why I've been successful in many different avenues is because the way I treat people. I'm not fake, so there you go.
That's awesome. That is awesome, man. Absolutely. That's the answer to life as far as I'm concerned. If you got questions, read your Bible.
That's right.
Over answers. It's the only book that actually talks to you. You ever notice that?
It's wisdom.
So I'm speaking with Reynaldo Santana. He's with Impact Annex with 1x.org. He can help you out. Get a hold of him. Look him up on LinkedIn. Have a free talk with him and see if he can help you out with what you're doing with your profit, nonprofit. Get this Google ad grant if possible, and see if that makes sense. Reynaldo, it's been great having you with me today. Thanks so much for being here. And we are out. We will talk to you soon, my friend.